Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending upon the time you are watching this. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Austin Julio Broaden, otherwise known as Dr. Julio, the best fake doctor you'll ever meet here or see on social media. And it's just a nickname, folks, relax. But today, more importantly, I am joined by Sweet Tea, who is the newest cast member of Married to Medicine. So first of all, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, listen. So let me ask you this. Walk us through, what is it like having the cameras in your face 24/7?
Oh my gosh, it is like an emotional roller coaster. Seriously, I mean, it's going to make you go crazy. The things that you go through in everyday life, they will just make it bigger than what it is.
Right.
You know, me dealing with the stressors of planning a wedding, getting in an argument with my now husband, they would make it seem like this is the end of the world. Like, girl, your life is effed up. And it's like, no, these are just regular things.
And you take it, so it is a bit of a unique thing to be on television, taking what's a common personal argument and just blowing that thing right up.
Yes.
Lord have mercy.
Oh my gosh, it's very stressful, especially dealing with the public eye.
Yes.
You know, them responding and having the public opinion like on you all the time, and people like, you'll never be his ex-wife. Like, thank you.
They've really had those. You've had people make those statements before.
Oh my God, all the time.
Jesus
I'm like,
Christ.
nobody was trying to. I've already been through life compared to somebody else. You know, being a twin like yourself.
Yeah.
Being a twin like myself.
Yeah.
Like, we are already compared to.
Yes.
All the time.
I have a little bit of an advantage because I'm a boy. It's a boy and a girl.
Right,
I have a twin sister, so
right.
they can't quite compare us as much. But I definitely understand where you're coming from. So, what is it like overall being married to Dr. G, though? How has it been? Because let's be honest, you've done something that only 1 in 4 black women are able to do in today's generation. 3 out of 4 black women are not getting married at all. So I always say that women get married, y'all have won a championship. Mm-hmm. How does it feel to sit at the winner's table?
I mean, it feels great. I mean, but it does take work. I will say it takes work to get on the same page with someone. It's an accomplishment to say that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with someone, and to find that out of all millions of people that are in this world, it takes a lot. So, but the best thing about it is that I have found someone that accepts me for me, and that loves the things that I do. I love my hobbies, love what I stand for, and you know, he's just a compliment to my life. So,
isn't that what a good spouse is supposed to be? I've always had that thought process,
yes,
that a good spouse is a compliment, and they are an asset, not a liability.
Right.
Speaking of that, you made a statement on the show that somewhat went viral. People was just losing their minds about it. And a cast member quoted you on, I think it was with the Watch What Happens Live with Andy. And it was about you saying that you enjoyed having greater access to the money, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now, what was going through your mind? Walk me through that statement when you talk, because you talked about being a compliment to one another and being an asset. Walk me through what was going through your mind when you said that one of the benefits of being with Dr. G was greater access to the funds.
Well, I'm supposed to have access to the money. Whatever a man gives to me, I'm supposed to be able to multiply. Like, you know, the fact that Gregory trusts me to have access to the money, it means I'm doing something right. You know what I'm saying? But also, I had already had my own money. I was in the Air Force. I went to school. I graduated from University of North Texas. Right. You know, I worked in the intelligence community before meeting Gregory. So I had access to the money. I had my own resource. Why not get more? Why not multiply it? Why not grow it?
Especially when you want children.
Exactly.
Especially when you want children.
You know, we want a strong foundation for them kids.
Yeah. Absolutely. And without a strong foundation, you set them up to struggle. And that's a very, very positive thing. Now, have you noticed what has been some of the reaction of the cast members to you and Gregory's relationship? Because there was an article that I was reading that spoke about you actually joining a group that was for women that dealt with older men. Right. What has been the kind of the pushback or the positives that you've gotten?
You know, pretty much comparing us to, you know, like a sugar baby and sugar daddy relationship,
right,
saying that, you know, Gregory's my papa. You know, did I ask him for any money before I can get out, or, you know, as if like he's controlling, and that's just a misperception. You know, all of the judgment I'm getting, they give me a reason to. It's a reason why I have gone to an age gap group for support. Yeah. And of course, like, I need support at this point because we just want to be accepted. We're a regular relationship like anybody else. Right. Like, you know, you have the people that are like polygamous. You know, you have people.
Yeah, you got some people out there that's like that.
You know, you have people that that are in same-sex marriages and relationships. They want to feel accepted, and we do too.
Right.
Like, and they are just proving my point why I need the support.
You know what? I have to be honest. Looking at it from that perspective, I agree, because so often, especially when you have done something that a large percentage of our black men and women are not doing, there can be some struggle with that, because many people are not able to give you support because they're not in the same position themselves.
Right.
And so, how have you adjusted to life since Married to Medicine in the context of people talking about your marriage, or just how are things going in general?
Things have been, well, as far as my marriage, we're good. We're tight. I mean, I think that us being on the show really showed how strong our relationship is.
Yeah.
Because so many people have so much to say. But I will say that I would be lying to you if I said that everything has just been great with all the judgment, But now it's giving us a chance to relook at some things. So I'm having a lot of women reach out to me now saying, like, you know what, I'm in an age gap relationship. I totally get what you're saying. Mm-hmm. So me and Gregory, we've been talking about actually starting our own age gap relationship group, maybe planning trips, and with couples that are in a similar situation that we're in, that share commonalities with us.
It's very, very interesting that we even are having to have this conversation, because typically what we see in society is younger women dating older men anyway. And one of the greatest, most discussed facts in the Kevin Samuels era is that men don't come into their financial peak until they reach between ages 36 to 42 years of age. Right. Now, you're 32 years old. We know Gregory's in his 50s, but it seems to me that the net of it is the relationship is working. So what would you say to women? Do you feel that many women have made the relationship game too difficult for successful women that have done it? Do you think that there's some sort of misplaced anger? Is it jealousy that they can't get what you're getting? What would be your thoughts on that?
I think it is some misplaced anger. Some of the women, they are going off of comparing themselves to rappers, singers, people that are in the social in their representation of women today. You got Sexy Red out here. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You got Sukihana, and it's like people are mad because why I didn't show my ass on social media. I feel like women are making it harder than what it is. You think that you gotta have your hair a certain way and have have a certain color dress that you wear. That's all that stuff is really superficial. Just be you. You don't have to show your ass on social media. People are too busy competing, and women are making themselves accessible on social media sexually. You don't leave nothing they're not leaving nothing to the imagination.
There was a quote that I heard somebody say when I was in the 9th grade, and it was showing up. It was a female teacher. She said, "The best advice I can give to you young girls: show enough to look cute, hot enough to keep them wondering." And from what I understand, right, when you
give a little soldier, give a little soldier, give a little soldier. That's it. Just put a little lipstick on. That's all you need.
So, well, look. Apparently, from what I understand, you didn't even need that.
Right.
Because this article kind of, I'm going to be honest. When I read this article, the title of it said, "Sweet Tea snagged Dr. G with a simple DM promising to give him love, lust, and a baby." Now, from what I understand, all you did was send him a DM just saying, "I can give you what you want."
That's all I did.
Wow. So walk me through that. Were you nervous when you sent him a message? Kind of what you, or you just knew what was going on?
Growing up, I've always just been very forthcoming, and I love to just greet people. I love people. I'm a people person. I'm not afraid to approach people. Right. So it was just easy. I shoot my shot.
All right, Kaylin Clark. All right, now damn it.
That's all that it takes is just shooting your shot. That's it. Make
so
yourself available.
Okay, in the proper sense, right? Because I think that one of the things that women say today is, "Oh, honey, no, he need to approach me. He got to pursue me." Right. And one of the things I've always said is that as men, we love a woman that can give us a good hint. There's no better hint than you initiating it, because from what I gather, Gregory still had to get on his knee to propose. He still had to show that he was interested. He still had to do what men do. All you did was make it easier for him to open the door to access the opportunity to get to know you. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Women need to get out of their own heads. It's the ego. It's the ego. Get out of that. I've gotten so far in my life, just being myself and just getting in my career. I remember getting my first job, and I worked with a bunch of women. It was in a financial office, And all I did was I got dressed, went to the office, and I brought donuts, and I was like, I'm interested in this job. They hired me.
Instantaneously.
Just like that.
Well, I mean, how could they not hire you? You are, after all, sweet tea. It's not bitter. The tea's not
They
bitter,
hired
right?
me. I was 18 years old. You
Wow.
know, working. I was assistant manager at a place called World Finance, and they hired me just like that. And it's just like, this is the same scenario, but you know, I don't mind approaching people.
And because at the end of the day, as a man, he still has to do the work. He still has to do. He still has to do what men do. And now let me ask you this, because there's another section of this article that I want to address. It said that you prided yourself on preparing home-cooked meals and catering to your husband. The author of this said, serving her accomplished husband is Sweet Tea's #1 priority. And while the other women on the show are distracted from home by demanding work schedules, issues with their adult children, other responsibilities, you're committed to smiling at him when he walks to the door after work and serving him a quote-unquote country meal plated on real china. Now, the only meal I've ever seen you serve him in the show was, I think it was a Vietnamese dish.
It was a Vietnamese dish. Well, actually, it was a dish that's, well, I guess in the Philippines too. The Vietnamese, and it's in the Philippines.
So not only can you cook, but you know how to cook cultural dishes.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You know, I grew up in a diverse background. Being from Killeen, Texas, is Fort Hood is a military base, an army base that's not there. One of the largest bases, army bases in the United States. So I grew up with a diverse group of people. You know, I mean.
It helped your palate get real diverse.
Oh yeah, and you know, I've always made friends with different people, and you know, she said it was a country meal, but it was like, no, it
wasn't nothing country about it.
It was nothing.
It was a country meal from a different country. That's the point.
Yeah, and it's so funny. I have a couple of people that reached out to me like, what is the recipe? Someone actually made it and sent it to me. I said, ma'am, can I post this? I was amazed. Like, wow.
But so that's what I mean when I say, there's been some shade thrown your way unnecessarily and undeservingly, because it seems to me. And would you say that what you said, it was a priority to make sure that Gregory knew that he was loved and to have him home cooked meals? Why do you think, in your opinion, women have lost that sort of, I don't want to say the desire to please or the desire to cook or to make a home? You know, I've always said that a man can buy a house, but a woman makes it a home. Why do you think that has been?
I think that it's just the influence out there. You know,
So the social media kind of.
Yeah, the influence that's out there. I think that people are getting inside their own heads, and you know, they're being followers. You know, they're being followers. Yeah. And I'm not a follower. I'm a leader. The only person that I follow though is my man.
Come on.
And God. That's it.
Hey now. Look, now you're gonna piss off a whole lot of women by saying that, because we live in this era of and I'm gonna be honest, we live in the era of, I don't need a cookbook, I don't need a man, and I've always thought that we were better off when we were connected to one another. We were better off together than separately. Right. So going through now, I want to talk about some of your cast members, because some of them, some of them have had some interesting comments, to say the least, about your marriage, which is as well as the author of this article. And it says the doctors labeled you a sugar baby before the age gap romance. Now, I'm sorry, but a sugar baby typically is somebody that's looking to be taken care of. Now, you're in the top 10% of women in the country, right, because of your profession, your salary, and all that type of stuff. So what was your reaction when you heard them say that, or when you heard them kind of come for your marriage, knowing that they're trying to...
I don't know why women say that, because I think it also has been proven that women, they sacrifice a lot. They give a lot in the marriage. You know, they sacrifice their youth. And, you know, they're putting a lot into... They sacrifice. They're putting a lot into that marriage, making sure that the finances are good in the home, making sure that, you know, the kids are taken care of. They're still working. Like, we do a lot as women. So I don't know why they say that. Like, I'm giving, you're getting me. You're getting the best of me. Yeah. You know, I when it comes to my relationship with Gregory knows I take care of everything. Like, I take care of the house. I take care of any bills that come to the house. You know, I'm the one that manages the money. Right. You know, I manage it.
That's what you
got access to the money. Now I'm a manager.
Come on now. That's what a good wife is. Come on now. And so this is, now I'm gonna quote one of your cast members. I ain't gonna say who, but you'll probably gather it by the quote. Somebody said that they have predicted that you will eventually get tired of catering to Dr. G's needs, and you will begin to adopt the habits of your castmates, who are more driven by professional achievement and creating multiple streams of income. But what would you say? Because one of your cast members, honey, I'm gonna tell you, I just think Sweet Tea gonna end up trading in her marriage for a corporate suit like the rest of us, honey. That's what one of your cast members. That's the statement that they made.
I just want to know why they hating on me. Why are they hating on me? Because I've already been there, done that. I've been there, done that. I've already had a career. I've done that. You know, I mean, I want maybe a side business to help support my family, but like, why are you hating on me?
Well, and I think that's one of the more interesting things of listening to some of the comments made by some cast members. It would seem to me that these are people that are supposed to be elders guiding you. Right, and they're
acting like old, bitter women.
And that's about my thought process. What would you say to young girls that want to get married to encourage them to keep that at the forefront of their thought process? Because obviously, was marriage always? It seems like marriage was a goal for you. Because most women are not getting married at all in today's society. They're in fact passing away. Men and women both are dying alone by themselves. Yeah. So what would be your advice that you would give these young girls when they hear women saying, "No, be a corporate baddie, be a boss bee"?
I think was it Emily K. Williams that was talking about that?
Oh yeah.
I remember her saying that, and she was encouraging women to find a mate while they're in school. But I will say, just always be open. Like I don't think that you always have to be buried into a book 24/7. Like I went to college and all that, and I still dated. You know, I think that just wherever you're at in life, just keep yourself open, make yourself available. Be focused, but at the same time, meet a friend.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Meet a friend.
Right.
You know, don't be thirsty. You know, you don't have to be thirsty and go out to the club every weekend and meet a man, but stay focused, but also meet a friend while you're on that journey. Like, you know, volunteer somewhere. Right. You know, do something. Give back to the community. Yeah. You know, do something. You might find someone, a nice person there. You know, you might find a good man at church. You just might. But now, you start mentioning church and black folk. They don't. Right. Black people going to church. Hold on, no, that ain't what the ancestors did. You know what I'm saying? Even though I have never seen rocks help not nobody. You know, I've never seen rocks and chakra help anybody seriously. But so when you look at it from that perspective, I do want to ask about this as well. When you look at how in the first episode they compared you to Dr. G's ex-wife. Now, obviously, that can be annoying on so many levels. Yeah. How does one combat that, especially dealing with a man that many people are obviously Dr. G's a high-value man? What is it like having to stomach those comparisons? Then is it hard to separate yourself, especially being on television, from that type of lifestyle because of the comparisons, or is it the fact that they compare me shows that I already won?
I agree with that.
Yeah, like there's no comparison. Amen. I wish I had like a mic to drop.
Well, you got. Well, yeah.
I ain't gonna drop that. But you know, there's no comparison. Like the fact that you guys are comparing the new wife to the ex-wife. I mean, what does that say about you? I mean, you got too much time over here trying to compare us to. You know, his relationship was that back then. Everybody wants to criticize me for staying in the home that he's in now. Yes. You know, that's now our home. It was a house when I got there. Mm-hmm. It is now our home.
Come on now. Come on now, church.
So
all right.
I didn't meet Gregory in a house with his ex. It was just a house, an empty shell, if you will. It was just my canvas.
She said it was just a skeleton. I took it and added the meat onto that thing. Exactly. Okay, I understand. Exactly. I understand.
The meat and potatoes.
Come on now. Meat potatoes with the sweet tea to go with it. You feel me? Right. So, and I think that is something that I'm gonna always. I have to be honest. I did not watch all of Married Men. I would catch it here and there, but from the first episode when I saw you on it, I was like, I have got to interview this woman because you and I are not that far in age, and marriage is also a goal of mine. But I have noticed a lot of women are dismayed at the fact that you are a genuine homemaker. That is something that is lost today. Yeah. Did you grow up in a married environment? Did you walk me through kind of your upbringing a little bit? What did you get?
Well,
what did you get a chance
to
see?
Yes, I did grow up in a married environment. My parents, they were married for I believe 15 years. But also my parents had us at an early age. My dad was 16. My mom was 18. We were born. Okay. And my dad ended up moving to Fort Hood, Texas, and he was able to build himself up. He lived with my uncle, and he moved us from Arkansas to Texas. And my parents, they did have a marriage that was a little up and down, a little rocky. But my mom, I saw her, she worked hard, but she made sure that we had everything that we needed. And I saw my grandparents' relationship. They stayed together. They're still together to this day, on my dad's side. And my mom's side, my grandparents stayed together up until my grandfather passed. And they were homemakers.
So you really got a chance to see that.
Time with them. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But I admire their relationship though. You know, sometimes like my grandma, she would cook something to eat and all that, and my grandfather, he worked. He would come home. You know, he would give her the check. Now, you know, nowadays men are like, nah, you can't take my whole check. but you know, he would give her a check. She would, you know, pay all the bills. I mean, that's just how it was, and that's what works for our relationship.
You know, there was a study that was done a couple years ago that calculated the worth of a housewife. When you look at all the stuff she does, especially when she has children, you have basically stay-at-home daycare person, you have a cook, woman loves cook. The value of a housewife was estimated to be between, on the minimum side, $100,000 to $250,000 when you combine everything that they do. So it would seem to me that having a wife is the greatest asset that a man could possess. When you look at it from that perspective, what would you then say to people that want to say, oh, marriage is an outdated institution. We don't need to get married. We don't have to focus on our husbands, this, that, the third. What would you then say to them?
It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It's for me, though.
Come on.
It's not for you to do.
That's right. Come on now.
Yeah.
But that is kind of why I said marriage has become a bit of an elite institution, because we definitely, in the black community, that's something that we don't focus on. It seems to me that we practice more, and I've said this on my platform a lot, that the baby shower for us has become the new wedding.
Right. Oh my gosh, you're so right on that.
Yeah. And that is something that I would love to see change. So I have to tell you that watching you on the show as someone that's close to my age that is married, you are an inspiration not only to women, but you're also an inspiration to myself. Because when I look at that, I can say, okay, now she's done the work, she won the championship. What advice would you give to men that are seeking to get married, to women that how can a man in my position attract a homemaker, right? Because there's not that many of you guys out there. What would be the advice you would give men?
I would say just focus on you at the same time, like, you know, build your own brand, build your business, you know, stay in the books as well. But I mean, it's pretty much the same. Just be open, you know, just meet a nice woman that's, you know, is friendly. What Kevin said, fit, friendly.
Fit, feminine, and friendly. That's what.
Feminine and friendly.
Right.
I mean, it's as long as you're a good person, like the women will come.
Yeah.
They're gonna come.
Right.
You know, a woman like myself would approach it like just how I did with Gregory.
Right.
You know,
That is so.
It's natural. It reminds me of like. It kind of reminds me of like being like animalistic in a way. Like it's just natural. Like
when the male lion wins the fight, typically the women walk up to him. So you know it's you know on the human side, when a man does the work, typically women are easier to come across because he's prepared himself. Do you think that today's men and women are even preparing themselves for marriage, or do you think that we're just going to stay in that rut of basically, if this person doesn't appease me immediately and instantaneously, I'm just going to drop them and go on to the next, in this sort of microwave relationship society that we have?
I definitely think it's microwavable. I think it's hard to say. It's kind of hard to say. You know, some people want that instant relationship and want it to work, but you know, you got people that stay in the relationships, waste their time for years and years.
Yes.
and they don't get anything out of it.
They stay in these damn entanglements.
They have kids by them and everything, and they stay within the relationships. But it's kind of hard to say. I just think that we need to adopt some of our old practices. You know, back in the day, it worked.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
You know, there was a study released in the study came out in 1965, but in the 1980s, it was discovered that black people had some of the highest wealth during Jim Crow. We were married at a rate of 80%. Over 70% of our kids grew up in two-parent households, and there's been studies to demonstrate that children that grow up in married homes have less disciplinary issues, less mental health problems. So how important is it for you to maintain your marriage, especially knowing that you're a woman that wants to have children? How important, what priority do you place on mastering, learning your partner, and what importance do you think Dr. G places on learning you?
It's a huge priority. I believe whenever you're in a relationship or in a marriage, you guys should adopt core values and stick to those core values. And maybe once a week have a conversation and come back into it, like any issues that you're having, and say like, are we using our core values? You know, we do this all the time. We went through premarital counseling, and you know, every once in a while, it's nothing wrong with having a counselor and just kind of checking in once a month here and there, just how the relationship is going. You know, but yeah, I mean, I just think that I think also it depends on who your partner is. Gregory is committed to me, and he ain't trying to do this thing over. Okay, he already did it one time.
Dr. G
said,
said,
do this thing a second time.
Dr. G said, hell no, I ain't doing it. The third time is not the
He's
charm.
Like,
you feel me?
So he was like, no, we working this thing out.
Come on now. Listen,
and
I
I'm the
understand
same
that.
way. Like we riding it to the end. We riding it out to the end, to the wheels fall off.
I know that's right. Well, first of all, I don't want to keep you for too much longer, but there was one part of that article that I did want to address, and it was, I'm gonna quote one of your cast members here. They were making the statement that, basically they tried to say that of all of the people that were there, you were the least intellectual among them, right? Because you were focused on being a homemaker and all that kind of stuff. Now, knowing what you've done, being in the Air Force Reservists, working in the tech industry, what do you think even created that perception? What generated that thought process in them? Or do you think it may have just been rooted in pettiness, or?
I think it's just jealousy, you know, and maybe they are deflecting. You know, maybe they're seeing something within themselves and they want to hurt somebody else, and just say that, you know, somebody may hurt people. That's what I've learned.
Come on now.
Hurt people, and it could be maybe they had a bad childhood, maybe, you know, they were in such bad relationships and they just want to hurt other people, you know, and they're not even getting a chance to really know who I am, but also who gives a fuck about how they feel.
Amen to that shit. Hey, and with that one,
I'm winning.
Listen, she won a championship, people. She is married after all, so she's already in the most elite of the elite among black men and women, because that's what we're not doing in our culture. We need to start. So, tell us what your Instagram is. Tell us where we can follow you. Tell us where we can find you.
So my Instagram is TheRealSweet_TEA. Okay, and that's the same for my TikTok and my YouTube.
Well, you know I'm already following you, of course, especially after this. How could I not? And of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know who I am, at Austin Off Script on Instagram, at Real Austin Off Script on TikTok, and Austin Off Script on YouTube. So we're gonna have to do this again.
Yes,
at some point. We're gonna have to do this again.
This is a great conversation.
Yes, it is. So you know that for the next show, we're probably gonna do a review of this coming week's episode. Mm-hmm. So y'all stay tuned for that, and make sure y'all follow Sweet Tea on all of our social media platforms. And with that one, people, we are gone.